Yo guys, what's going on? It's your boy Johnny Go Vroom. Thank you for joining me for yet another fun-filled episode riding electric unicycles and feeling fancy. Out here riding the Begode Race, the 210-volt monster powerhouse that is more or less like a Hayabusa that doesn't have any real functional suspension. I feel like it's got dampening more the suspension, but what it does have is a tenacity on the road that just will not stop. Lots of people have had tons of errors with this wheel, however, and I personally have not had any of those issues, but I baby this wheel. I don't jump this wheel. I don't go downstairs on this wheel. I don't take this wheel off-road. I just treat it like it's a glass cannon, and it seems to work out pretty good. You see me, I'm having a good time on this damn wheel. I wanted to talk about opinions today. I know that, this is such a strange thing to even think about, but opinions, man. And I want you to think about how often that people are constantly trying to recruit your opinion for something. Like from the moment that you wake up and you look on your socials or you check your phone or you look on the TV, you get a message from somebody, how often people are trying to get you to decide how good or bad something is, how positive or negative it is, how angelic or demonic it is, and how that's just across the board what people want. And then think about how valuable that is, right? Like people wouldn't be trying to move it around if it wasn't a valuable thing. And when we think about things that are super duper valuable, oftentimes we are really selective with how we deliver those things. And it just makes me feel like we are living inside of an ecosystem, a world, a social paradigm where people are constantly trying to make you decide. And recently, this year, I've started doing something and I wanted to share it with you. That thing that I started doing, I started holding my opinion back. I started saying, maybe I just don't need to have an opinion here. And little by little, I started to realize that as I stopped giving out my opinions, I stopped having to defend perspectives that I didn't necessarily fully agree with. And when you defend perspectives that you don't fully agree with, you oftentimes end up inside of this thing. It's like a cognitive dissonance. And that's where you don't fully agree with the shit that you're trying to argue on behalf of. And so often we end up doing that. And we end up frustrated and we end up angry. And that's why we oftentimes end up yelling and having these weird arguments. We get frustrated mostly with ourselves. And that's when we start to get upset, when we realize that the house of cards that we've built our whole perspective on starts to come tumbling down. And that's the danger, right? When you start throwing out your opinion about this, your opinion about that, your opinion about this, and we can take something inside of the EUC space. Like people will want you to have an opinion about InMotion as a performance company, right? And before the P6, people would have been like, "Grr. It's a bad performance company. It's not a performance company." And here's the thing. Nobody needed to have an opinion. InMotion can just exist. And you can totally have an opinion if you want to, but at a certain point in time, that opinion's going to be wrong. And when that opinion gets wrong, the people who are around you are not the ones who suffer for it, right? Like you're the one who suffers for it because you have to go through the rationale of being like, well, they're not a performance company, but they did make the most powerful wheel that has ever been powerful, and it is now faster than everything else on the planet. And, but they don't make performance wheels. And that's just kind of a one-off sort of, you didn't even have to have an opinion about it to begin with. Like nobody is demanding you have an opinion about any of this stuff. And so I get to sit back and I get to watch what's happening while everybody develops opinions about stuff because I just don't have that many opinions. I used to think that the watchers inside of the Marvel universe, by the way, the Begode Race is astoundingly fast, consistently astoundingly fast. And you can see that. This footage is not sped up. This is just how the race moves. The 360 camera does make a modest speed look aggressive, and the lower that I sit, the lower that the camera is, the more fast it's going to look. But the Begode Race is a very capable wheel. Make no beans or bones about it. Before I get any further, I do want to thank my channel members, the people who are actually subscribing to the background channel, because honestly, you guys are making it to where that I can bring my voice to my regular channel. I really don't give a damn about the algorithm and whether or not the advertising picks up on my non-inflammatory headlines, because I just want to add value. And you guys are making it to where I can add value without fearing for any monetary penalty, because you guys care enough to support what it is that I'm doing. So to you, my channel members who allow for me to make content that adds value and doesn't just throw inflammatory topics at the algorithm in order to appeal to the lowest chakra, vibration, energy, thought process of any single person, it means a lot more than I can say. It's crazy, guys, that you are giving me this freedom, and I thank you so much. And I don't take it for granted, so thank you. And this is going to sound crazy, but I actually just want to add value to your lives. There's so much stuff out there that just is like brain rot and meant to like fulfill a one-sided parasocial relationship. Like, pay attention to me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. That's more or less what YouTube is, and what any of these social medias are. It requires that you give your time and your attention and your energy to something. And I really don't feel like the exchange is equal with all of the content that we get to consume. I feel like a lot of content actually leaves us worse off for the wear. I feel like when we pick up on this dramatic content, when we pick up on these vile subjects, when we zero in on things that are just full send negative, it really permeates the way that we think about the rest of our day. And we carry those shadows with us, and we look at other people around us with those same sorts of ideas, because words are powerful. Thoughts are even more powerful. And if you don't think that, then you're probably having a harder time than you need to have. So the next topic is definitely going to add some value to your life. I have the privilege of having so many awesome channel members that are constantly sending me information, screenshots, chats, tidbits that they think that would add up to some cool information, to some cool stories, to some cool things for the channel. So to Paco, I have to thank you so very much, because you gave me these screenshots a little while ago, and it definitely added a thought process that got me thinking about scarcity, and I ended up talking about scarcity mindset in one of my members' videos. But these are three representatives from three different companies that I think are really epitomizing what it means to try to add value, and they're not adopting that scarcity mentality. In fact, like, even in the most short northeastern kind of curt screenshot that I'm about to show you, there's an air of respect. There's like a mutual admiration and appreciation. And that's just so awesome to see inside of the EUC space. So the first screen grab that we have comes from Jeska, the queen pin of PowerKnobs. Even Grizzla can't one-up us on this one. Good luck to them trying to come up with a solution for the trolley that doesn't involve straight up copying us. Even Grizzla. Look, guys, I know at first glance it looks a little curt, it looks a little rough, but even Grizzla, like, she's lifting them up in this comment, right? And you just have to acknowledge that the trolley handle was a problem. You can see that here. And she came up with an innovative solution, or PowerKnobs did. I don't know that she did directly. And the armor kit speaks volumes for it. I know several people that have purchased it. They report no problems with quality or the way that it looks, the way that it feels, or the protection that it offers. And so I think this is really, really cool, because even in the communication, it acknowledges that Grizzla is an amazing company. Even Grizzla, which in its tone just lifts up the company. So cheers, guys. Love what she said. Love the energy here. And if you haven't yet, these guys are dropping armor sets for every single wheel dang near that comes out. So if you haven't in a couple of months, check out PowerKnobs. They got some cool stuff going on. Again, thanks to my channel members, thanks to Paco, we have an immediate response from Grizzla about the armor set. And you get this awesome appreciation. I mean, it's sincere. It has its own opinion, but you get this awesome appreciation. Nice. It looks like a solid design. I don't like it being so long front to back on top, but I get the concept. Doesn't look like compact small wheel anymore, but definitely good idea with the handle. And I think those are all objectively reasonable statements. That was actually my only concern with the PowerKnobs kit. It just made it look like more of a mid-size wheel, gave it a little bit of a bigger profile, but certainly tons of protection, and it looks super duper cool. And if you don't think that trolley handle solution is awesome. You're insane. They did a great job with that trolley handle. But seeing a competitive company really just pat each other on the back and say, all right, you do you, and I'll do me, and I'm going to try to do me, and then you do you, but not putting each other down inside of the commentary is so critical for a healthy ecosystem, guys. I love that we have companies in the same space in the EUC world actively lifting each other up, if not acknowledging how amazing each other is inside of what it is that they do. And I think that's so awesome and so beautiful, man. So the thing that got me to 100% decide that this is the video that I wanted to do today, that I wanted to record this today, was the fact that I saw a post from Lem Ung where he said, anything non-begode, you will get the best price and service here. Make sure you click on this link for the best price. And guys, he is an EUC distributor himself, and the fact that he is here advertising somebody inside of the same space, dudes, it is insane to me that he is trying to help. It is a certain sort of togetherness, of community that feels really good, because you can want to thrive yourself. You can want to do good yourself in the same space as another person, in the same space as another business, without wishing for the downfall or for the demise or for the suffering of another company or another person, entity, business. You don't have to do that. And so, fortunately, no drama today, guys. No problems. No scandals. Everybody's trying to do what they're trying to do. You know, people had a gotcha moment within Motion and tried to cry and complain and cry and complain, and it would have amounted to being fixed with a little communication from customers. You know, it didn't have to be jazzed up to such an existential crisis. You know, and Begode, you know, they're doing their very best. They have plans in the works. They are actively building new strategies and pathways to make things happen. So you guys keep your heads up, you know, and be leery of things and headlines and energy that is just trying to bring you down, that is trying to get you wrapped up in bullshit, to be honest. You know, if the bullshit doesn't add value to your life at the end of consuming it, then maybe think about that. You know, like I said, I'm fortunate. I've got channel members that support me and make sure that I don't have to fall into the drivel, and I don't have to continue to bait people with weird headlines. You know, honestly, guys, that's one of the reasons why I was slow the last couple weeks. You know, I just see so many people with all of these headlines, and it's like, y'all are better than that. You know, you don't have to do that to get people to see you. I see you for who you are, and that's a pretty damn cool person. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. Again, thanks to my channel members, thanks to the subscribers, thanks to everybody, thanks to all of the wheel manufacturers for making these fabulous, amazing things that we get to enjoy. Thanks to all the pad companies, thanks to all the distributors, thanks to so many people that constantly make it happen for us in this sector. Till next time, guys, it's been your boy Johnny. Smile. Peace.